Hey, what's up YouTube? Scabadger here, and we're back with day 2 and 3 of our 100 player isolation fan game series. I guess that's what we'll call it. As you can see, we're now at war with Spain, and this is something that, well, we expected to happen. We kicked this off with a raid around the side and tried to capture his rear producing province. We are pretty successful in this. The reason we started the war like this was to make sure we started with him on a back foot. Take it as rear production, he's going to be behind on research. So that was the idea behind that move. Now, the other reason for this is our main border is incredibly fortified. As you can see, we've got troops at each position along it. So this is a battle that took place on day 2. Spain tried to attack with 5 infantry and I only had about, it was 7 infantry and I had about 4 in the region. So what I did was I used a technique called flowering. Now for those of you guys that are unaware of flowering, it's very popular with artillery and large stacks that exceed the SBDE bonus. So what I've effectively done is I split my infantry up from a stack of 4 into 4 stacks of 1. And what this means is that when they take a certain amount of damage, when they get down to 75%, 1 infantry doesn't die and it doesn't turn into a group of 3. Now, usually this would work, however the game glitched out, and as you'll see, maybe not in this video, I do end up losing this battle because my infantry goes from defense to attack. And yeah, you can see that now. So that flipped on me there and that didn't really work out. So what we're doing now is we're rallying troops around to make sure that this breakthrough is not very successful. We're pulling troops back from the cities into the surrounding provinces so that wherever he goes, we can stop him. As you can see a little bit later on, he's captured the province to the left as we had to send troops across to fill that gap and stop him from bringing those true troops back. So we've effectively got his troops surrounded and they can't go anywhere. If he pushes north, he's going to run into troops in the north. If he pushes south, he's going to run into troops to the south. Now we were very unlucky to lose that province in the middle there. Because Spain was attacking, he was able to jump to the province center when he got close, despite the fact that my AC, if we left them, should have got there about 1 minute beforehand. However, as the attacker, that's an advantage you get. He can jump forward about 7 minutes when you're close to the center of a province. So this is now day 3, and as you can see, the front has steadied out. There hasn't been too much fighting. We're attacking Spanish artillery and we're really trying to dwindle it down. If we end up level on artillery, we're going to lose. He can attack in too many positions, so we have to make sure we keep his artillery down. So we're attacking with our interceptor, and we've also just sent in our own artillery to attack that one piece. So what you're going to see here is actually an interesting mechanic that I'll explain later on. As you can see, my interceptor just went in and it just attacked. So what's going to happen in a second is when my armored car unit with the attached artillery goes in, it's going to successfully destroy that one piece of arty, but then you'll see it also gets an opportunity to fire on the main stack in the fortification. Now this is an effect that occurs when you defeat an enemy with overwhelming firepower. Not all the artillery gets to fire, so 1 or 2 pieces of my own artillery will fire, and that there alone will be enough to destroy the enemy piece of arty, okay? Now, that's only 1 or 2 pieces of artillery. Because we've got 4, I believe, in my stack, the other 2 still get an opportunity to fire. So fire shifts from the destroyed unit to the main stack automatically. And you'll see that in a second when we get there. I know Spain wasn't quite too sure about what happened there. He got a few accusations about that one. But that was a little bit of a trick that I didn't actually intend to use. It just happened. Interestingly enough, in these combats so far, I've actually found that my interceptors have been really unsuccessful in ground attack roles. Now, obviously, they're not suited for that. They're not attack aircraft. They're meant to attack aircraft, and that's about it. So, yeah, they're not specialized for attacking ground units. However, in this war, I noticed that they sucked at it, especially bad. So, as we can see there, the enemy artillery opened up, which must mean we are nearly in range. Oddly enough, he must have moved out of the fortification to get it. So here you can see, we attack the lone artillery, it destroys it, however our attack timer doesn't fully reset. It's at the top there. It's about to tick over again in a few more seconds, and then we'll get another opportunity to attack the main stack. And this is actually a real good bonus here, and like I said, I didn't intend for this to happen. However, thinking about it, I could have used this a few more times to my advantage. Anyway, that main little attack there in 22 seconds doesn't do all that much damage. It's better than nothing. However, considering he's in fortifications, he's not going to take as much damage. We're very lucky that he's in the mountains, so his artillery firing at us has a minus 25% on it, and we're in the forests, so we get a defensive bonus of 15 because we're in our core territory, but we also don't lose that minus 25% because we're in the forest. So we have a bit of an advantage here, not much. So as you can see, we did a little bit of damage to the infantry, but really not all that much. Time to retreat back to the fortification, so we're nice and safe. So as we can see, a little bit later on, it's flipped on us. Spain is attacking our center point, and we're reinforcing from the right. At the same time, our left is still pushing the attack, and although it appears that there's 5 infantry there, there is actually quite a few more. However, they're hidden by the fortification. So we're using a shoot and scoot mechanic on the left to allow us to attack the Spanish troops in that fort without having to worry about being counterattacked by his own artillery. At the same time, you can see down in the right, we are going after some Greece convoys. Now, we'll talk about these a little bit later on in the massive adventure these troops have been on, but as you can see, Germany's got some naval bombers out and he is trying to destroy them. However, the convoys are about to escape his range, so myself and Matt are sending in as many subs as we can to kill them before they make it to land. If these 14 infantry make it to Spain, it's going to flip the tide of the battle. So once again, we're back a little bit later on, and as we can see, our infantry has escaped the range of the Spanish artillery because it's firing from the mountains, like we talked about before, minus 25% on its attack potential, so we didn't take too much damage there. As you can see, we're now thinking about where to move our own artillery and our own troops that we're going to reinforce from the right. At this point, what I figured was we've got troops heading down from the north, so north troops coming south to reinforce the army in the center. So what we're going to do with our left is we're going to push the attack. That way, he can only do one thing. He can either attack or he can defend. If he pushes forwards and he attacks, he's going to break my center point. However, we have the troops to rush back up, capture the right point, and the troops coming down from the north to capture the center, so it's not too big of a deal. We can contain him there. However, if I break him on his right, we then have access to Barcelona, and we can absolutely wreck that city. So he's a little stuck for options there. As you can see, 2 infantry and another artillery heading down to help hold that center point. Infantry there down in that city is also there protecting it from the Greece troops in case they decide to turn around and attack there. So they're currently on defense. I would like to move them out. However, if those troops spin around, we might not be able to kill them all in time. So another submarine's ready. We're going to send that out to be part of the chase and chase down those Greek convoys. Destroying them will be really good for our KDs. Taking a bit of a hit this game. So we're also force marching, and that will ensure our troops get there in time. So we're going to jump a little bit back into the past, and as you can see, those Greece troops are moving up Italy. Now, on day 1, Greece, Yugoslavia attacked Italy, okay? And at the same time, Spain attacked me, so we were attacked on 3 fronts. Luckily, we had Germany to back us up. Greece was able to slip in, undetected, into southern Italy, while all of Italy's troops were up in the north, preparing for a defense against Yugoslavia. So Greece was very easily able to walk up to northern Italy before he met any resistance from a few Italian troops and the bulk of the German army. Now, unluckily for Greece, because he was attacking so far away from his core, he was unable to bring artillery with him. Now, this meant he had 2 options. He could either engage in a highly unfavorable battle and lose, or he could retreat and potentially fight another day. And that's what he ended up doing. So what ends up happening is, under the cover of artillery, Italian troops end up pushing back down south and recapturing it. At the same time, too, we can also see where Yugoslavian territory has been raided. Now, while Yugoslavia placed all of his troops in one stack on Italy's border, Italy smartly sent his 1 AC right past them, round the flank, and captured all of the Yugoslavian cities and industrial centers. Now, this is why you don't create mega stacks, team, because that is exactly what happens. Italy was very successful in this flanking maneuver, and despite the fact he lost 2 industrial complexes to Greece, he was able to destroy 4 of the Yugoslavian ones. So, in the end, he actually came out on top. So this is a little bit later on, and as you can see, Italy's pushed forwards a bit, but he's also moving back. It's come to that night time, and he doesn't want to be there to take any damage. So from here, this is pretty much going to connect to where we were earlier. As we can see, those Greece troops are invading that island that we own in the Mediterranean Ocean. From there, what they're going to do is they're pretty much going to capture it, and then they're going to try and make their way to Spain. However, they never quite make it, sadly. So Italy's also going to go on. He's going to recapture his territory, and I guess we can kind of cover a bit more of that in the next episode. Thank you for watching.